Hola, ¿qué tal? Los saluda Luis Guevara el Güero nuevamente aquí en Fuzz y hoy estamos de manteles largos porque aquí tenemos uno de los mejores bajistas del mundo, nada más y nada menos el mínimo, Bryan Beller de The Aristocrats. Y no solo Aristocrats, Joe Satriani, Zappa, like, oh my God, you play with everyone, dude.
Yeah, wow.
So it's crazy. But yeah, la entrevista será en inglés. Ahorita voy a empezar a hablar en inglés para platicar con él, pero va a estar subtitulada. Y pues estamos aquí en Valencia. Esta es una super mega oportunidad. So
I'm glad that you're going to speak English to me. I can say my
I
one
will.
thing in Spanish. Mi madre es la profesora en español en los Estados Unidos. Y mi español es muy, muy malo. So,
but you still like...
that's the one sentence that I know.
Oh my God, that's good.
I know a couple other things, but it's just from being around my mom sometimes.
I mean, you just get used to it, you know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
music, like
Yeah.
you just used to listen to it and you can interpret. Well, Brian, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for coming and having your time. Like, man, I'm a big fan of the Aristocrats. I've been following you since you started. I mean, I think that your music is amazing and it's so different.
Thank you.
And honestly, I'm a big fan of rock power trios.
Ah.
So I was...
We're doing the right thing for this guy. At least.
Definitely. Like, I'm definitely a
Yes.
rock guy, you know. I'm a big fan of Cream as well, like Jimi Hendrix
cool.
Experience. I know that are
Yeah.
kind of your influences as well. So I wanted to ask you, like, I was reading that the Aristocrats basically was formed because of a NAMM show, right? So you got together for a NAMM show. But tell me, how did that got planned, and what do you feel about playing with probably two of the most greatest musician in the world? Like,
well, first of all, it's a good thing that I'm the bass player. That's how I feel about it. You know, I mean, it's funny because I never really sat out to be, went out to be like the virtuoso bass player, like a Victor Wooten or a Billy Sheehan type of guy. It wasn't what I was really interested in. I really wanted to just groove. But I was always interested in kind of more complex and progressive music. And somehow I just ended up on this path when Dweezil Zappa ended up being the first gig that I got. And once you get that tag that you're a Zappa guy, then everybody starts throwing you all the difficult material. And next thing you know, you have to learn all this stuff that you didn't practice technique to learn how to play. So that's been the story of my life. I've been catching up ever since. But the Aristocrats happened because Marco and I, the short version is Marco and I were already doing a trio gig with Greg Howe.
Okay.
We had this worked up for a gig in Vladivostok, Russia, of all places, for a cultural exchange with the American embassy there.
oh,
It was a long time ago. This is 2010.
Yeah, like it was like
couldn't. Today that wouldn't work, but back then it was going on. And we were going to do that gig at a bass player, like a kind of bass bash concert at the NAMM show. They asked me to do it. I had done it with my own band and my solo material the year before. And I thought, well, this is a band that nobody has seen. Me, Marco Minnemann, and Greg Howe. We each are solo artists. We each have our own material. We each were contributing our own material. And we were going to play a set that we had worked up. And we booked it. And then about a month before the show, Greg couldn't do it. And we were going to cancel, but there was this guy on Facebook who kept messaging me and was like, you've played with Steve Vai, you've played with Mike Kenneally, you've played with Dweezil Zappa, now you need to play with the world's next greatest guitarist, Guthrie Govan. Watch this video. And I had never heard of Guthrie at all. It was 2010.
Yeah.
You know, not everybody knew who Guthrie was, and Guthrie is not a big self-promoter. So when I saw a video of him playing, I'm like, how is it possible that I don't know who this person is? So anyway, we asked him to do it, and it was a one-off gig, and then we did it, and then I've done gigs at NAMM shows before. I could tell something special was going on, and so everyone was like, you should make a record, you should be a band. And we're like, all right, we'll give it a shot and see what happens. And here we are 12 years later.
And here we are right now. Literally, here we are.
Yeah.
Right. That's amazing. I love those stories that, first of all, there's a plot twist. Like, I can imagine the stress because I'm a musician as well, and someone lets you down just like a month before. It's just stressful to get someone.
There's a 15-minute version of that story where the gig got canceled and then we booked it at another venue, and then the original gig ended up being a benefit concert for someone who had cancer, and we had to cancel the other one that we booked to go back to the original venue. There were about 100 ways that first gig almost didn't happen.
Oh my God.
I should have known when there was that much weird energy around it that something explosive might happen. So it was interesting when you just pay attention to your gut. When there's a lot of energy around something, it's not even good or bad. It's just a lot of energy. Something big is going to happen. And I felt like that about that gig. I don't know how to explain it.
Do you believe in synchronicity? Have you heard that? Synchronicity, yeah. That's synchronicity.
Yeah. It's just energy.
You just live that. That's amazing.
Feel, some things are low energy and some things are high energy and some things are explosive energy.
That was explosive energy.
And I could feel it was even before the gig happened. Very difficult to describe.
Wow, that's amazing. And tell me, how was your first experience playing with Guthrie, because I agree, like he's one of the most, first of all, underrated guitarists. Like I think he's like up there.
Well, I mean, I think more people these days.
Now
certainly
days,
when we started, it was like
exactly.
Here's the thing is that all the super underground guitar people all knew he was great, but he didn't have a band. He had his own band, and he toured in Europe and played the UK sometimes, but it wasn't a big thing. It wasn't a world touring act, and like I said, he wasn't a self-promoter. As a matter of fact, his website, when we met him, was a single page with a picture of him with no links on it. In 2010. I mean, nobody does that. So when Marco and I first played with him, I remember he plugged in his amp and he played, and it was like really loud, and we were like, we just looked at each other like that. We were like scared. And then he started playing, and from the first song, we played Waves. It was the very first song we ever played in a rehearsal, and we just played right through it, and we got to the end of it, and we were like
no mistakes, just fluid.
But not only that, but we were informed by a lot of the same influences, and we could feel it right from the first song. We just looked at each other and we were like, okay, that was good. Let's do the next song. And the whole 6-song per set was like that. Every song was just like, fluid, all right, we know what we're going to do.
Oh my God, that's great.
And so playing with Guthrie now, Guthrie, nobody thinks, and nobody can carry a musical thought and translate it into his fretted instrument faster than Guthrie Govan.
His phrasing is amazing.
And also improbability, any noise, any thought, any little bit of humor. He's just so incredibly fast thinking, and he's trained me to be more fast thinking, even though I'd already been playing with Mike Kenneally and Dweezil Zappa, which is already a thinking things where any improv could happen at any moment. That's what Guthrie is great at.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to mention, because as a rock trio, it's really hard to balance out whenever he's soloing or you're soloing the chords behind it. Like, how do you balance that?
Well, it really depends on the song and the songwriter. Marco's songs can be a little bit more rhythm and riff oriented sometimes. Sometimes they're really open textures with simple chords, or sometimes they're complex chords and there's a lot of space. Guthrie's tend to be more harmonically complicated and more dense. And so he's trying to create as much musical content as a trio can. So his bass lines usually have wider register jumps, chords, arpeggios, all sorts of extended technique that I'm not used to doing, or I've gotten more used to it since I've been playing with Guthrie. And then my songs are generally the simplest, actually. I'm usually kind of focused on a guitar melody, and the rhythm section just is trying to groove behind it most of the time and deliver a message. So it really depends on what the song is and who the songwriter is and what I'm doing. But, I think it's really important, just to go back to the beginning of the interview, that I'm actually not a Victor Wooten or a Billy Sheehan or an extended technique bass player, really, by nature. I mean, I can get around, but I never focused on that. Like, I never learned the Stu Ham catalog when I was a kid. A lot of kids my age, that's what they were learning. And it's because I wanted to be the bass player for Led Zeppelin.
Oh, I love Led Zeppelin. That's grooving, exactly,
right,
with the bass.
Or even Yes, which is progressive and complicated, but Chris Squire has a real aggressive tone, and he was grooving. It was all about groove, melody, technique, and power, and that's what I was interested in more than the other stuff. Of course, I learned a lot of Rush stuff, and I learned some complicated things here
eventually
along the way.
You get there in the gigs that you got, it's like that type of world,
But Marco is an extended technique drummer. He can groove, and Guthrie can groove. Of course, they can just play straight up groove, but they are definitely extended technique players. When I say extended technique, I mean like they were pushing the boundary of the instrument right from their main practice age when they were 18 to 25, like everybody, right? And even before that. And I didn't do that. I started late, and I was just playing regular grooves. And so I think it's important that the Aristocrats balance in that way.
Exactly. Yeah.
When there's time for me to do something, I'll do something. But I always look at it as I feel like I'm on the ground holding two kites.
Yeah, okay.
And the wind is always blowing.
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes the wind blows me up too, but sometimes, more often than not, I'm the guy on the ground.
Oh, I love that.
And it feels good for me. That's what I always wanted.
Yeah, literally you're grooving with two of the best musicians, and you're actually living for that. That's your gig right now, your main gig right now, right?
So Joe Satriani, I'm doing equal amount of work. And again, now that is a completely different thing where, none of those, there are a couple parts that are technically complicated, but that's not what that gig is about. That gig is about Joe's emotive, melodic, and sonic content.
Yeah.
And so our job as a rhythm section is to really, really dig in deeply to whatever the groove is and create a trance so that his soaring melody can go over top of it and deliver that emotional content, which is the reason why Joe Satriani is the most successful instrumental rock guitarist in history, because he reaches more people. Because, even though playing with Steve Vai is great, and I love playing with Steve, and in a lot of ways it kind of tickles my brain in different ways than Joe's does, the more complex the material is, the fewer people it's going to reach.
Definitely.
Now, Steve has a great career, you know, and a lot of instrumental guitarists have a great career, but because Joe's artistry is, I don't want to say simpler, but I want to say more purposefully melodic in a simple way. And that's authentic for him. He's not doing that because he wants to sell more records. He's doing that because that's what's coming from his heart.
Yeah,
just like Steve
style.
does what's coming from his heart. Like Dweezil does what's coming from his heart. And what Guthrie does is what's coming from his heart. You know, so everybody does something a little bit different. But of course, the less dense and more melodic it is, the more people it's going to reach. And so our job is to help Joe reach his people.
Yeah,
and playing simple is a lot more difficult than people realize.
Oh, you need to be really tight,
yes,
right?
You have to be really in the groove. The sound has to be exactly right. And
John
the
Paul
moments,
Jones was a genius with that.
Yeah, the moments when the song transitions happens are so important with Joe Satriani.
I want to ask you as well, because being a rock trio, it is also, I think, you'll answer me, you can also, like, it's difficult to explore new stuff or not? Like, every time that you write new music with the Aristocrats, thinking as a rock trio, have you ever felt like, oh, how new can we do that?
It's an interesting question, because in the beginning we were really committed to the idea of everything that we put on a record has to be playable live trio, no overdubs. Everything has to be just a part that you could play. And we did 2 records like that. And then the 3rd record, we were like, okay, we've done that. What else can we do? And we started pushing the boundaries with overdubs. You know, we could feel it in like the first couple. It was Marco really who kind of broke the door down and had a lot of overdubs on the very first song that we were doing of his on that album, which I think was Stupid 7. It doesn't mean it can't be played live, because it can be. It can be reduced to a live arrangement, but there's layers on it. And then suddenly I was like, oh, let's put a percussion thing here. Let's have a second guitar part there. Now, Guthrie was the one who really flew the flag of like, it has to be a trio song. He did that all the way up until this new album. There's finally one song. There's finally a song that has and when he broke down the door, he really broke it down. There's a lot of layering on this song, and I'll just to tease it a little bit. You know, there's 2 songs of his that are real trio songs, and then this 3rd song almost sounds like it's like an alternate timeline where that's like a song that's on Erotic Cakes 2, played by the Aristocrats.
That's amazing.
But the thing is like, even though he writes it when he writes in a layered way, it inevitably sounds like the Erotic Cakes material from a compositional standpoint, but when it's played by the Aristocrats, suddenly it sounds like the Aristocrats.
Yeah, exactly. You all put your own thing, you know?
It's an interesting mix. So it's funny that you should say that. We've all, Marco and I kind of have gone there on the last couple of albums and done some stuff that's layered. Guthrie waited until this album.
Oh my, I can wait for that album. I'm talking about that album. So now you're exploring these other areas. What about your, because I listened to one of the interviews, each of you writes 3 songs. So I guess there's going to be 9 songs?
9 songs, just like always.
Great. And then what about your songs? Like, what was your new...
Well, one of them is being played in... We're playing 3 of the new songs on this tour, the Defrost tour. Yes, tonight. Yes. Yeah, we're playing the 3 songs are... And this is out there now. We're playing a song, Marco's song called Hey, Where's My Drink Package? And then my song is called Aristoclub. And then Guthrie's song is called Sergeant Rockhopper.
Oh my God, that's
you're the
great.
First person I'm really talking to about this in an interview. We've already put this in our press release that the new album is a concept album.
Yes, I was to ask you about that.
It's an instrumental concept album. That's all I can say about it for now.
But because you've done concept albums for your own project.
That's right.
So I think it's something that you personally liked.
It is, and it was something that Marco has gone there as well in his own solo artistry, but I definitely went there on my last solo album, Scenes from the Flood, where I was really trying to convey some serious topics that, like, you know, the Aristocrats, that's not really the place for that. We know what people want when they want the Aristocrats. We know it's got to be, you know, of course we're playing a lot of notes and it's a lot of different genres, but we're having fun at the same time. It's always with a wink and a nod. We're breaking the 4th wall with the music, and we're trying to keep it light. That's what we want. That's what we do. And that's what people expect from us. And that's cool. And it's authentically there for me and Marco and Guthrie, especially when we're together. But with Scenes from the Flood, I really wanted to talk about some deeper, darker themes around human nature. And, you know, and without going all the way into that, it was a concept album. And so what I did was, it's a double album, and there are themes that repeat throughout the composition.
Yeah, like
they keep coming back. Yeah,
in a way.
So it feels a little bit like Pink Floyd, The Wall, where the melody keeps coming back. And the best concept albums, like Thick as a Brick, Jethro Tull, it really is a through. There are a lot of through lines, and if you put the pieces together, it's almost like a bit of a puzzle, and it's fun. Now, I wouldn't say that the new Aristocrats concept album is quite like that, but there's definitely a concept, there's definitely a story, and we will reveal it soon.
Oh my God, can't wait. I can imagine how, like, it's so interesting how you managed to tell a story with just melody. I mean, of course it's possible, but I can think of like it was actually something that you sat down, talk about like this melody, we're gonna use it throughout the album, or how was that?
I can't really go into it further yet.
Yeah, okay.
But there's going to be there's going to be content that we put out in January that explains how we got there. And then the album comes out in February 16, and there's going to be 5 very select dates on the west coast of the United States that are going to be coinciding with the album release. So the album's going to drop on February 16, and then on the release night we're playing Seattle, and then we're playing Portland, and then a northern city, California called Redding, and then San Francisco and Los Angeles, just to make some noise about the new album being released. Then we each have some scheduling commitments, and then I would look beyond that for some more serious touring about the album.
We're about talking about touring because you tour a lot, and you've been to Mexico.
It's true.
As with Aristocrats, you went to Mexico City and Guadalajara. I remember because when you announced it, I think it was the first time.
We went to Monterrey also.
No, I'm gonna tell you about that. Actually, I actually have a funny story about that, because I remember it was the first time that Aristocrats, I think, went to Mexico, right? You've only been once with Aristocrats.
That was in 2016 as part of the South America tour, even though Mexico's not part of South America.
Thank you. No, but I remember that you announced the tour, and I got really excited. And you put the tour dates on your poster on social media, and it says Monterey, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna finally see them. And then
it changed to Guadalajara.
Yes, you re-uploaded, and then sorry, it's Guadalajara, it's not Monterey.
There was some confusion with our promoter.
Yeah, I guess that.
Let's not get into that.
No, sorry, sorry, no. I just wanted to share that because I found it funny.
We
want
to come back to Mexico. We do, and we're looking at that. So.
You need to go to Monterey. Definitely, there's a big prog rock metal.
We've been to Mexicali a few times.
Mexicali, okay,
because it's right across the border.
It's very. I wanted to ask you about your experience in Mexico. Was it what you expected? Do you like it?
Well, I think the entire Spanish-speaking world is very, very, like, the crowds are always amazing. You know, they're very active, they're very vocal, they're loud, they sing. You know, it's I love playing for everybody, but playing for Japanese people is not the same as playing for, you know, people in Spain or people in Mexico City or people in, say, Buenos Aires. It's just, you know, a different vibe entirely. So we know that when we go to Mexico City, we're going to get a loud, boisterous crowd, and that's great. It gives us energy.
Great, I like it. So please go to Monterrey. If you go to Monterrey, you have your casa there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure.
You also have your casa here in Valencia right now. I'm here in Berkeley, Valencia.
Yes.
I'm studying actually the master's degrees in music business.
Great.
So that's why I offer you to do the interview there. But I know that you were also a Berkeley alumni.
It's true.
And I wanted to ask you about this thing that you actually mentioned, because I found it really interesting. So you were very advocating helping other musicians on the scholarship program, which is called
it's the Wes Waymiller Scholar. Yeah, Wes Waymiller was a bass player who was my contemporary when I was at Berkeley. He was better than I was.
So he was your professor?
No, my friend.
Your friend? Oh, your friend.
Yeah, my contemporary.
Okay.
My friend. And he was better than I was. He was just a great
amazing
bass player, absolutely amazing player, great tone, great groove, incredible presence. And unfortunately, he passed away when he was 34 or something, like of thyroid cancer. It was 2005, and so we and some of his friends we started doing benefit concerts as a gathering of people who used to know him. And then somehow I think his family got involved with the college, and next thing we knew, there was an endowed scholarship in his name at the college, and we were doing a benefit concert every year to raise money for the scholarship fund.
Oh,
and
that's so nice.
we asked a bunch of bass players who were had some notoriety, to do it, like Stu Hamm, Jimmy Haslip, Tal Wilkenfeld, Victor Wooten. There were more. I'm forgetting people because it's been a while. But Pino Palladino did it.
Oh my God!
It was a really great concert season. We started raising more and more money for the scholarship, and now it's the biggest scholarship in the bass department.
Wow!
And I think it's endowed at about $500,000 now.
Wow!
So and this was a commitment that I had made doing some personal work of my own. I wanted
for your friend as well.
Just to create something that could live on it. And I used to organize the benefit concert every year. I don't do that anymore.
I can imagine
it's now migrated. Now Steve Bailey and Victor basically organize it every year because they're in Boston. So it used to be in Los Angeles where we lived. Then it migrated to Boston. It's actually a little easier to manage now that it's in Boston because the bass department is there.
Exactly.
But anyway, the Wes Waymiller Scholarship at Berklee College of Music has helped out a lot of really, really great bass players, and we make sure that the people who get it are deserving, not just because they're great players, but also because they're great people. And because Wes was a great guy.
That's amazing. That's a beautiful
Wes
story.
played with Duran Duran and Warren Cucurullo.
Oh, so he
could really play.
Oh,
I mean, like,
shit.
I wish people knew more about this guy. He was.
Is there videos of him?
Oh yeah.
I guess
people
right?
can go to the website on the Berklee page and see him, or you could just search Wes Waymiller, which is WESWEHMILLER. When we were at Berklee together, did you go to Berklee in Boston?
No, I didn't go.
You go there and like you want to be the guy that like everybody asks to play your shows.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got there and I realized that I was not that guy and not good enough. So I locked myself in a room for a year and I practiced a lot.
So he motivated you.
And I was just like, I'm ready. My sophomore year, I'm ready. And then Wes showed up as a freshman. And everybody asked him to play their shows instead of me.
No.
But it was all the same guys that we knew as friends, and we stayed friends. And so I started organizing my own shows, and that's how I got my name out there. And in a way, that kind of continues to this day because I'm an organizer person.
Nice. Yeah. Now you're playing with, again, the best players in the world.
I'm very fortunate.
I mean, I'm happy for you, and I'm like happy to see you that you're living your life, that you're living your passion, because it's something difficult as well, you know, to take that path and commit, you know.
Yeah, and let me just say, just to everybody who's watching, I moved to Los Angeles when I was 22 and started playing with Dweezil Zappa and did some recordings with Steve Vai, and it all sounds really great and like, wow, you just made it right out of college. But the truth is, 5 years after I graduated from college, I went completely broke. And I needed to get a job, and I got a job at a bass amplifier company, and I started off testing amplifiers for $8 an hour, and I worked my way up in the company and learned a lot about business, and I did that for 8 years before I quit that job and then went back to being a full-time musician again. And then it was another 7 years after that until I could finally really support myself, not just where's the money coming from every month, I barely have enough, just an actual living, when I was 42. So don't give up.
And what advice can you tell young bassists or musicians in general that are also from Berklee, for example, because a lot of Berklee people will probably see this, musicians, what was something that you would do differently with your first gig with Zappa, for example? Like what do you think was something that you missed?
Tricky question, but I think the most important thing is to realize that, the things that you think are about you aren't really about you. You're there to show up. If you're going to be a sideman, as opposed to an artist, you're there to show up to be somebody else's ease of operation. They just want someone who's really, really good, knows the part, and is going to make them sound good. So they don't really have to think about who is going to play bass. They just want that problem solved.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because you have to put together a band, and I think it's easy to fall into the trap, especially with complicated music, of thinking that the entire thing is about the fact that can you do it, and you want to show the artist that you can do it. I mean, if you can't do it, you're not going to get the gig anyway. So the better way to think about it is everybody who's going to audition and that you're in competition with is able to do it. Yeah. It's only, that's the entry level. You can do it. Then it's about what's your vibe, what's your style, what's your tone? Are you friendly? Are you fun to hang out with? Do you have the right color hair? It could be anything. It can be very capricious at the point when the person who's the artist is choosing between 5 people, all of which who are capable of playing the gig, but which one of them do they want to have for the gig specifically? And then, the other thing is just you get points for sticking around. And I could definitely
just being there.
Just not giving up. If you really, it's hard because some people have lifestyle changes. There's no wrong way to do this. People get married, they have kids, they have a family problem. Maybe there's a health issue. Life is strange and weird, and it can throw you a lot of curveballs. And having a life as a musician requires some sacrifice, even when you're successful. And if you want to stick it out and keep going until you're 42, then great. But if not, and you want to take a different path and be involved in music in another way, even if it's just casual, or if you have a job in the music business, or whatever your path is that keeps you connected to music, there's no wrong way to do it as long as you feel good about it.
Hey man, that's synchronicity again. Like what you felt, how you feel it, just be there. If you are there, then something's gonna happen.
That's right. And
like
I'm still learning.
Aristocrats.
I'm still learning about that. I'm 52 now, if you can believe that, and I'm still learning that lesson pretty much every day.
Oh, life is tough, I guess.
Well, it's not that it's tough.
It's just tricky.
Just that it really depends on your perspective on how you do it. You know, great things never stop happening if you're open to them. Challenges never stop happening because life is life. And so you just kind of have to navigate your way through it with as little ups and downs, you know, as possible, and just try and stay even through it, because I think those are the people who have the easiest time with it.
Well, that advice is amazing, man. And coming from someone that I play with a lot of people, have been ups and downs, as you said, I think it's great for other musicians to know that, well, life is life, you know.
Yeah.
It's not personal. It can happen to anyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally.
Exactly.
Man.
Let's do a time check. What time is it now?
Oh, let me see. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna wrap up with the last questions then.
Okay.
The game.
All right.
So this is the game called Quick Fuzz. Okay. So I'm gonna ask you 10 questions. I'm gonna take the time, and you gotta answer the fast as you can. There's no wrong answers. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
You just need to answer whatever comes.
I reserve the right to pass.
No, you need to answer something. Whatever comes to your mind, like favorite color.
Okay.
Like, for example, just an example. Favorite color, whatever.
Black.
Exactly. Like that. It's gonna be like that. Okay. So if you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Are you gonna say Fuzz? Yeah. All right.
Say what?
Fuzz. Yeah.
Fuzz. Yeah.
Fuzz. Yeah.
Fuzz. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
Fuzz, yeah. Okay.
So, are you ready?
Yes. Fuzz. Yeah.
Exactly. So, question number 1: which band would you have loved being a member of? Red Hot Chili Peppers or Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Favorite Mexican food?
Stuffed pepper.
Okay. If we could see which song you have listened the most in your entire life, which one will it be?
Pink Floyd, Dogs.
Nice song. Most important artist of our generation?
Our generation, define.
I don't know. The most important artist for you, like that has influenced you.
Trent Reznor.
Okay. Favorite TV show or anime?
TV show, The Sopranos.
Nice. Best concert have you ever been as a fan?
Rage Against the Machine, Evil Empire.
Name the last song or band that you listened to today.
I didn't listen to any music today.
Okay. Oh, that's the first one. Dream venue that you would love to play at?
Red Rocks, Denver.
Oh. Newest artist that you discovered?
Newest artist that I discovered.
Yeah, like it can be an old artist, but it's new for you. For example.
Well, I mean, like, you know, probably a Genevieve Artadi.
Okay.
The female singer of Nowhere. I've been listening to Lewis Cole. I've been listening to Lewis Cole and Nowhere, but like I just recently got into Genevieve's solo stuff.
The girl, those guys are amazing.
So what a great little mafia they have going on.
Yeah, that guy. Dweezil. Okay, I'm just taking time. Sorry. Most rock star moment in your career?
Flying in on a helicopter to do a Dethklok show on an airship carrier on a aircraft carrier battleship. That's crazy.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
They're finished. You did 1 minute with 56 seconds. I love Metalocalypse. I love that cartoon.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
That was definitely a rock star thing. They flew us in. They called it the Deathcopter, and we got off. There's a crowd of people waiting for us. It was at San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh, yeah.
So that was, I mean, you know, there was that. I almost said playing Hellfest with Joe Satriani because that was like 35,000 people, but the helicopter thing was better.
Yeah, you can compete with that, definitely. Yeah. Well, thank you very much. Right. First of all, over there's a gift for you. There's some beers, Mexican beers.
Okay.
Because I know that you and the band are a lot into beers. You love beers, so I just wanted to give you a gift.
Oh, thank you.
So there's Mexican beers, Coronas.
Okay. All right, so thank you.
I hope you like them.
Thank you very much. Thank you. What time is it right now? 15? Okay. I have 3 minutes if you want to ask me anything else.
Oh, we can just close the interview then.
Yeah. So 5:20, I got to be in that lobby.
Okay. So yeah, do you have fun? Do you like it?
Do I like what?
The game. Do you like it? Do you have
the
fun?
Game? Yeah. You know, I mean, the first question was the hardest. Do you want to be in the Red Hot Chili Peppers or Yes? It's like, why do I have to be in just one? Well, you're going to embrace the healing power of and.
They're your favorite bands, don't you?
Well, listen, I think Yes registers for me more deeply than the Chili Peppers. The Chili Peppers, there was a point where I was at Berkeley where I was really into them, and Flea taught me to slap, not Marcus.
Flea?
Not like literally taught me, but like okay. I slap like a rock player with my thumb down. I don't slap like a funk fusion guy with the thumb up.
Okay,
so
interesting.
And I use it for rock aggression more than like to try and be like Mr. Smooth Jazz guy. So that's the thing about that. But Red Hot Chili Peppers had some really good records in the early days, and then they made a masterpiece called Blood Sugar Sex Magic. And after that, I mean, listen, they got a lot of successful records. Not knocking, millions of people, can't be wrong. But for me, that was the peak. Whereas Yes had like 6 unbelievable albums.
And, I mean, you're talking about the 70s, right?
The Yes album, Fragile, Close to the Edge, Topographic Oceans, Relayer, Going for the One. I mean, like, that is an unbelievable run of material.
It's Fragile for me.
Unbelievable.
Steve Howe also.
You know what? I should probably revise my answer on what song I listen to the most, because I realize now that it's probably Yes, Gates of Delirium.
Oh,
from Relayer.
Okay, Relayer. Yeah.
But as you can see, I'm into the big epic songs.
Yeah,
exactly. Both those songs are 20 minutes long.
Yeah, it's just
Dogs and Gates of Delirium.
Yeah, it's sort of like what the Interior will do later and stuff like that. They're the first guys doing very long. I think I don't know, but I think. But well, Bryan, thank you very much. I can wait for see you tonight.
Yes,
we're definitely going to the show. I'm gonna be right in the front.
Are you on the list? Did you get tickets? Or
I got tickets.
You got tickets? Oh, you guys are the best.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
Well, hang on. Come to the merch table afterwards.
Okay.
I'll be there, and we can say hi again.
Please, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for the beers.
Enjoy them, please.
Of course. Thank you.